Hello and welcome to story number 4. I'm going to switch things around a wee bit this time in that I'm just going to tell some very short stories and put them into the one video, as it were. And these ones are just wee silly things, they're just wee funny things that happen along the way. So I'm going to start with the purse. I remember filling the car up one evening with diesel and heading off, and very quickly people were flashing the lights at me. And you know, those of you that live in Northern Ireland will know that could mean many, many things. It could mean like there's cattle on the road or sheep, or there's an accident ahead, watch your speed. Or maybe, and I know we're not meant to do this, but you know, people do let you know in this country that the police, the speed cops are up ahead, so watch your speed again. And I took the speed down a bit, but I couldn't see any problem on the road at all, so I wondered what all this was about. But like 3 or 4 people did flash the lights at me. And then whenever I arrived home and got out of the car, I was in the town living in those days, so I hadn't that far to go, you see. Realised what the whole thing had been about. Wasn't my purse on the roof of the car. Now, it's terrible to say it, but I've done that twice. And the second time I think was just funnier. Because I should have learnt, I know I should have learnt, and I have a bad habit of putting my purse, whenever I'm filling up, putting my purse on the top and then forgetting all about it, you see. But this time, similar, people were flashing the lights at me. I was living in a different place by then because it was maybe 10 years later. And I was putting the foot down a wee bit more, but people had been flashing the light again. And I thought, I wonder what this is about, I'll have to watch my speed. And then, of course, as you're heading out of a 30 and into 40, you know, you're putting up the speed and you're thinking, I know what's coming, I can go out and put up, now you get up to 60. But I touched the brakes because I thought there must be cameras or a speed cop about here. So I just touched my brakes to come down again, and didn't the purse fall off the roof and onto the bonnet of the car. So yeah, that's twice, folks, that's twice enough. I have to really concentrate now. I've done something else twice, and this time other people were involved, and it made it more embarrassing. Port Stewart Promenade, for those of you that know it, up on the north coast. So I was with company, I wasn't driving, and we got parked and I jumped out and everybody went to buy whatever they wanted, and I came back to the car, and of course this is such a girly thing, I know every bloke would be, you know, really upset to hear this, but I couldn't really remember the car. I just knew the colour, but I knew roughly where we had parked. So I just jumped into a blue car. Didn't quite get sat down whenever I looked over, and I thought, I don't know anybody in this car. So I had to apologise and just get out of there very, very fast. Now the next time I think was even worse, because I actually sat down in the front seat. But again, I did the same thing again, and it was the wrong car. And this time I sat down and I handed the driver an ice cream. And he looked at me as if to say, what are you doing, girl? And I was so embarrassed, and I just got out of there as quick as I could. So yeah, I've done a few. I've been identified by my big laugh in lots of places, and goodness, this next one, certainly I laughed, and I laughed out loud. One night we were wanting to go down the port again, as we called it, and I was staying, it must have been maybe the summertime or the holidays or something, so we were having a sleepover. We were friendly, my sister and me were friendly with 2 other sisters, and I think we were staying over there that night. And we'd asked their mum, could we go down? And she said, yes, if you go to this wee gospel meeting first of all. And we didn't want to go, but we knew it was the only way we were going to get permission to go down the port. So we begrudgingly kind of went along to this wee thing. And we were late. And of course that made a scene for a start, because it was like significantly late, 10 minutes late. We had to go up to the very front, and there was only about 20, 24 people, whatever. Sat down, not individual seats, but like an old-fashioned bench, and we were right at the very front. And the guy was already in mid-flow, But you know, folks, very, very quickly, oh dear, 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 dear. One of those sisters just found him hilarious. He was from Wales, and he had a very, very different accent from us, and it was quite hard to pick him up. But the thing that we found so funny was just one word that he kept saying, and he kept saying it in a way that we weren't used to hearing it being pronounced, and the word was discipline. And let me tell you, I mean, the joke was that we were showing no discipline within about 5 minutes of being in there. But he didn't pronounce it as discipline. He said, discipline. And that was enough to set one of these girls off. So every time he said it, she would go off again. And it was reasonably quiet at the start. But then he used derivatives of that word. He used it in the past tense. And that, as it went on, basically, you know, one after another of us just couldn't hold it in anymore. And I was jammed in between two of them. And the bench was bouncing. I'm telling you, it was bouncing up and down. Plus, I had these two shoulders pushing into me. And after a while, I lost the plot completely myself. I couldn't control it any longer. And, you know, there were snorts coming from these two here to the left. Absolutely past themselves, laughing out loud. And eventually I had to, like, blow my nose, wipe my eyes. I mean, I was crying. I was crying with laughter. And we all got ourselves pulled together for a few minutes because he hadn't mentioned the word. And, you know, you're heaving after he's mentioned it for another 3 or 4 minutes. So hard to pull it back whenever you've totally lost it. That was all fine, and we were a wee bit quieter. And then your man turns around. We were there, so he glared over to the left, and he just said, and I'll never forget it. He said, "Young people today are not disciplined enough." And he totally preached at us, like he totally gave off, you know. The minute he mentioned the word, the four of us, there was just a chorus of snorting and laughter, and then tissues coming out. Now, their mum was there that night, folks, and it was hugely embarrassing. I thought we were going to get a complete and utter rollicking, and she wasn't pleased, but I mean, she was such a gentle lady that she wasn't too bad on us. Of course, the irony was that bad and all as our behaviour had been, embarrassing and rude to that man. Actually, it was so bad we apologised at the end to him. That their mum, although she was disappointed in us, of course she was, we went to the meeting and we argued the toss out with her that we should still be able to go to the party. And we did. Oh dear, dear, dear. Good times. Folks, that'll do. I'll wrap it up there. The next time I'll tell you a story which is just an embarrassment for me from start to finish. But actually God was in it. I do believe God was in it, and it was a mistake that was probably, maybe definitely meant to happen. And I think it deserves a bit of the detail and a whole story to itself. So until then, bye-bye.